Globally, we have seen corporations weakening, receiving bailouts, accepting billions in funds, only to gamble it all away. No need to fear, though. Central banks are constantly working on a solution. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. All right, let's get into global growth going limp. All right. Beginning with this article here, this is the article that I really wanted to cover, and the rest of the information I'll just go through quickly. This is from Mr. Schilling. Many of you know him. I actually used him as his index in my book. Global growth is weak, and it will be eroded further by a Brexit. Oil prices are low and likely to plunge further. The world has excess capacity and wage-depressing labor surplus. By the way, all of the things he's saying, I'm not necessarily agreeing with everything. The world has excess capacity. He's talking about the corporate profits are shaky, and deflation is laying bare the impotence of central banks. So where would you logically expect financial markets to be going given that economic, financial, and political environment? So what he's saying is, let's look at the fundamentals. Let's address all the scenarios, all the possibilities here, and understand what should be happening. You'd expect to see the increase in demand for safe haven, not true, U.S. Treasuries, a soaring dollar, and falling commodity prices, and increasing investor aversion to junk bonds, emerging market debt and equities, and other low quality securities. That's not the case. You know, we have difference of opinions obviously here, but that's what he's saying. And this is sort of, you know, coming from an individual who's really on the inside of all this. But he's very important. He said a lot of good things, and I like to read what he has to say on occasion. The 10-year Treasury yield has been flat for months, and the dollar, as has the dollar against the euro. Commodity prices in general and oil in particular have risen. Money has poured into emerging markets. And how can the current security prices be justified in the face of the fundamental picture, at least as I see it? What he says is, look, if you look at the PE ratios, yes, things are overpriced. Stocks are overpriced. But look at them based on dividends. In fact, based on that, they are 60% undervalued, according to him. You know, I don't think that's the case, because when you're not factoring in, like, just take what he says here, sure, okay, it makes all sense. But what about the fact that they've printed trillions of dollars, sent it around the world, and that has skewed everything? You totally throw it off when you do something like this. You know, he's not looking at all the details, and that's really where you don't think about, you know, I understand he's trying to write an article. I understand he's with Bloomberg on this article here. You can't say everything you want to, even if you do know that information. However, let's be honest about this. When you do the kind of schemes that the central bankers have done, how do you expect there to be any fundamental analysis? Yes, you have an overall picture. The fundamentals show things are going to crash, but at the same time, you can't have those fundamentals say, look, the supply and demand here is obviously going to make this particular commodity go up or down. That's fundamental analysis, but that doesn't happen anymore. It really doesn't. So that's all for this article. Let's move on here as we look at this. Cops are finding sneaky new ways to catch texting drivers. This is what I'll say. Texting while driving is probably pretty dangerous. I would agree with that. But to now change, and you could read the article for yourself here. The Associated Press is talking a lot about it. And basically what they said was, they have used all of these police officers and, I would say, reroute their abilities or their services to revenue generation. So instead of stopping actual violent criminals, they're stopping drivers who are texting. Why? Because they can make, in Toronto, for example, $500 every single ticket that they give, and they do so all the time. Yes, as I said, again, it's dangerous. If you're not paying attention to the road, you could crash. But at the same time, is that really what a police officer should be doing instead of trying to get violent criminals off the streets? That's just my opinion. That's just a criticism that I have. Obamacare rate hikes rattle consumers. That's right. Once again, the premiums are rising, but they said specifically that you won't have to worry because it's free. The increase from day one till today has been significant. It depends on your situation and everything, but they have been significant increases yet again. But don't worry, because this is how the GDP can increase. Flynn addresses deadliest month in 25 years. How many cities do we have to read that will suffer this kind of violence? This happens to me, Milwaukee. And actually, in the previous video that I did, there was at least one person from Milwaukee, and this is what I expect more to happen. A lot of this. It's not a good sign. A lot of homicides going on here. It is in Chicago, but of course, it's the same kind of things are happening. Robots are becoming security guards. Once it gets arms, it'll replace all of us. And what I would say is that the robot armies are being built right now. Literal armies, but as well as those who are going to definitely be taking over a lot of jobs in the future and in the near future. And if you look at this, even today, France rolls out the world's first driverless buses. It's a small thing that's happening. I believe it's only 2 of them, but it's going to expand. This is a trial. It's within a contained area here. It's a set route that they have. This is not necessarily going to be widespread anytime soon, but before you know it, all of a sudden, they're on the streets, every major city, when their drivers are simply not needed anymore. And I can speak for myself in Toronto. From what I understand, the bus drivers, TTC, the metro system, earn quite a bit of money. So if they can put them out of business, well, be sure that they would spend a few $100,000s to get a machine like this in there to replace those individuals. That's all for today. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. Hang on there for those who want to hear my little rant at the end. And last but not least, if you found this video informative, I know you'll find my book, The Money GPS, even more informative. Flip through the book. Just go over to Amazon. They have a look inside feature where you can actually do that. And just see it for yourself and see if you like it. Take care. The previous video, I asked everyone, let me know where you're from, and I will comment to tell you what could happen there, whether it would be riots or civil unrest or militarized police on the streets. And I had such a huge response, so I want to thank each and every single one of you. Maybe we could do things like this regularly, where I just simply ask a question and we have a little fun with it like that. It's interesting just to see. It's very informative at the same time. So once again, just wanted to say thank you all for participating in that. I know that the people who replied, you're the individuals who are watching regularly. And, you know, if you're watching often but you're not commenting, I'd like to hear what you have to say. Just one note, I didn't see anybody from Hawaii out there. You might be there, you might be watching. What about you over there in Hawaii? If you're there, comment. I want to know exactly where you're from. Let me know, please. Take care.